Selamat datang and welcome to Asean Today. I'm Ayn Bandial of the Brunei Times in Bandar Seri Begawan.
And I'm Dalton Tanonaka of the Indonesia channel at the ASEAN Secretariat in Jakarta. This is your monthly look at the dynamic Southeast Asia region. We begin this month with national elections here in ASEAN's biggest economy, where on April 9th, the presidential picture became clearer. The voting was for seats in Indonesia's parliament, and the opposition Indonesian Democratic Party of Struggle came out on top in unofficial results with 19% of the vote. But its candidate for the top job, Joko Widodo, must still seek a coalition partner, having failed to secure the required 25% needed.
I'm very confident. My party will do very well. My party will win very strong.
The two other candidates for president are business tycoon Abu Rizal Bakri of Golkar and Gerindra's Prabowo Subianto, a former Special Forces leader. We talk with that general shortly in this program. Indonesia's military chief said he's sorry to Singapore over a 50-year-old incident. General Muldoko apologized on April 15th over the naming of an Indonesian warship earlier this year. The Usman Harun honors two Marines involved in a bombing in Singapore in 1965 that killed 3 people. Muldoko told Channel News Asia that Indonesia meant no ill will after diplomatic protests were raised, but he said the name will remain. Singapore says the vessel will not be allowed to dock in its waters.
The mystery of Malaysia Airline Flight 370 remained just that for most of April. Air and sea crews continued to search for the aircraft that disappeared March 8th, with 239 people aboard. Searchers heard several pings early in the month, believed to have come from the plane's black box recorder. But the sounds went silent, with experts saying the batteries in the recorder likely went dead. A robot submersible is being used to search in the deep waters of the South Indian Ocean, where the jet is believed to have crashed. Boxing fans in the Philippines and around the world had something to cheer about on April 13th. Boxing hero Manny Pacquiao reclaimed his World Welterweight Championship by winning the rematch with American Timothy Bradley in Las Vegas. Analysts wondered whether the Filipino congressman would regain his legendary form after 2 defeats in his last 3 matches. Pacquiao answered critics with a convincing unanimous decision.
Myanmar's hotel crunch is getting some relief. 48 new hotels are opening in the next 3 months, providing more than 37,000 additional rooms. Since opening its doors to international business in the past few years, visitors have found it difficult to book a room. Besides the commercial capital Yangon, officials say tourists are interested in staying in more remote areas of Chin, Kachin, Kaya, and Shan states. Myanmar expects 3 million tourists to visit the country this year and 7 million next year. The tremendous interest in visiting and doing business in Myanmar is resulting in residents struggling to keep pace with prices. ASEAN Today's Nongol Darapati reports.
The world is coming to Myanmar, and long-term benefits are understood. But for now, residents are feeling the economic pressure. The World Bank says the country's inflation rate more than doubled last year, from 2.8% to 7%. The country's Central Statistical Organization said the spike in inflation is due to higher prices of basic necessities such as food, gas, and electricity. Housewives who must buy daily necessities in local supermarkets express concerns over the impact in their day-to-day lives. Analysts say prices will stabilize after the initial rush of investments and influx of visitors. But before then, residents must try to cope with a hot economy that's pushing prices higher. Nongol Darapati for ASEAN Today.
More ASEAN Today is coming up shortly.
A presidential candidate says Indonesia is ready for greatness. We talk with former General Prabowo Subianto, who reveals his plans for the country. He's next. You're watching ASEAN Today. I'm Ayn Bandial in Bandar Seri Begawan.
And I'm Dalton Tanonaka in Jakarta. It's now down to 3 major candidates in Indonesia's upcoming presidential election. One of them is the former head of the country's special forces. I talked with Prabowo Subianto of Gerindra, beginning with his recipe for a great Indonesia.
Clean government. That's the
Number one.
Number one. That's the. From my study of history, failed states come about by corruption. Corruption leads to the degeneration of government institutions, and once government and national institutions degenerate, if the law courts become corrupted, if the police become corrupted, if the government treasury, the government internal revenue, the tax department become corrupted, then the whole society, the whole country starts to degenerate.
So the most pressing issue, how would you solve this, sir?
Good management. Basically, it's management. Putting in IT, putting in electronic methods, systems, modern, transparent control mechanisms. It can be done. It has been done in our neighboring countries. Even in some provinces of Indonesia, steps have been taken. What is needed is a political will.
Yeah, because
But
technology is always there. So you need the moral will.
The political and moral will of the leadership. We have a saying in Asia, if a fish rots, it rots from the head. It starts from the head.
How far away would you say is Indonesia from becoming a developed nation with clean water, modern transportation, and free education?
With good governance, good leadership, I think we can achieve that in 20 years.
Sir, who is your Indonesian role model and your international role model? Let's begin with, who do you admire in Indonesia?
Oh, I admire many leaders. You know, of
Number
course,
one role model, Indonesian.
number one role model, maybe Gajah Mada.
Because?
Because he united at that time. But of course, he's a very historical figure, and sometimes historical figures also become sort of a bit of a myth.
But as a Javanese leader,
Yeah.
he inspired you.
He inspired me with his Sumpah Palapa, his oath to unite the realm, to unite the archipelago.
Okay, international role model. You must have some.
I have many.
Name
I
one.
have many. Name
two.
one. I really admire. I have many role models, but I admire Jawaharlal Nehru of India.
Yes.
I admire him. He comes from a wealthy family, but he dedicated his life to work for the poor of India, to lead India to independence. He was very far-sighted, he was very moderate, he was very democratic, but he was also unabashedly pro-poor. He wanted to eradicate poverty, and I think he was the brains behind the rise of India now. I think one of his famous sayings was, or one of his famous statements was that he wrote somewhere that he will never see in India rising into a big power, to become a big power. But India will be a big power in the 21st century. So he was that type of leader, you know, going very, very far into the future.
Long-term vision.
And investing in his people's education. You know. for the future of the country. I think education is the key to real development and real growth.
A candidate must win 50% of the vote in the July 9th election, or a second round is required. More ASEAN Today is coming up shortly.
We will head to Cambodia, where Buddhist monks are helping turtles stay alive. And then to Manila, where swimming with the sharks is a good thing.
This is ASEAN Today.
And we are coming to you this month from Jakarta and Bandar Seri Begawan. Buddhist monks in Cambodia are teaming up with conservationists to turn the tide of turtle hunting. ASEAN Today's Andrew Trigg has a story from along the Mekong River.
This giant soft-shell cantor turtle was caught in a fisherman's net in Kratie province 7 years ago. The find got international attention, sparking a call to save the species and others from extinction. Cambodia is home to at least 10 known species of salt and freshwater turtles. In 2011, this Mekong Turtle Conservation Centre opened up on the grounds of the historic 100-pillar pagoda in Kratie's Sambor district. Its mission is to increase the survival rate of turtle hatchling. Under a corrugated metal roof at the centre, 12 soft-shell cantor turtles and other species have found a temporary home in small aquariums containing water and sand. They will eventually be released into the Mekong. The pagoda was chosen to host the centre because Cambodians obey the teachings of monks and are more inclined to obey their teachings on turtle conservation.
ជាសត្វកធានដឹកនោះជាសត្វកំពុងតែជួបការរងគ្រោះថ្នាក់នៅក្នុងប្រទេសកម្ពុជារបស់យើងព្រោះឲ្យបានអាត្មាចូលចិត្តគឺទី1ណាមួយអភិរក្សនឹងវានៅក្នុងវត្តនឹកឃើញថាបើមានប្រសង់ចូលរួមជួយស្រោចស្រង់ជីវិតដល់សត្វអណ្ដើកគឺបានបន់ច្រើនណាស់នៅក្នុងឆាកជីវិតរបស់អាត្មាហ្នឹង
The centre works with local residents in the conservation effort, with nests like this one in Kompong Cham. And there is financial incentive. A hatchling delivered here earns a reward of $8, a sum that's turned turtle hunters like T. Sok and his wife, Nay, into turtle protectors. Up to 50 eggs fill each nest, noticeable by the footprints left in the sand. A net is used to protect the eggs from monitor lizards and snakes. But dangers remain from poachers who consider turtle eggs a delicacy. The eggs are watched for 2 months until they hatch. Then, after 10 to 12 months at the centre, they are released into the river.
ខ្ញុំចង់មានសំណូមពរដល់អង្គការ CI និងស្ថាប័នពាក់ព័ន្ធក្នុងការងារអភិរក្សសត្វល្មិចដើម្បីធ្វើយ៉ាងណាឲ្យបានថាគ្រប់គ្រងសត្វល្មិចដូចថាទ្រទ្រង់សត្វល្មិចដើម្បីអភិរក្សសត្វនេះឲ្យបានសាយទៅលាយទៅថ្ងៃមុខឲ្យបានយូរវែងព្រោះយើងចង់បានអភិរក្សសត្វនេះដែលសត្វវាកម្រនឹងមានទៅមុខទៀតទេវាចង់ដាច់ពូជយកទេយើងធ្វើយ៉ាងណាឲ្យបានមានការរីកចម្រើន
There's no way to know how many turtles survive to maturity. But with the help of conservationists and dedicated monks, the 4,500 hatchlings already released give the species a fresh chance at flourishing. Andrew Trigg for ASEAN Today.
Here are several events on the ASEAN calendar. The DBS Marina Regatta Sports Festival is set to run May 17th and 18th at the Marina Bay waterfront in Singapore. The 21st Vietnam Medi Farm exhibition will be held from May 14th to the 17th in Hanoi. And this year's Royal Plowing Day in Cambodia will be commemorated on May 9th at the Royal Palace in Phnom Penh. You just heard about saving turtles in Cambodia. In the Philippine capital, the focus is on getting a hands-on education on more scary creatures. ASEAN Today's Andita Winda guides us to the Manila Ocean Park.
The creatures of the deep sea have a fearsome image. Sharks can take a fatal bite. Stingrays can poison you to paralysis. The newest attraction here at the Manila Ocean Park offers an interactive way to overcome personal fears. The Sharks and Rays encounter is designed to give visitors an up-close experience with minimum risk. These stingrays and sharks have been trained to handle the presence of humans. Expert staff are always nearby.
They are captive in our Manila Ocean Park itself. We train them for months. We build a training area especially to train them. When they're ready, then we shift them to a new environment, allow them enough time to accustom to a new environment, and the trainers and the staff handles it very, very well on a daily basis. So it is perfectly safe for the guests to handle.
Oh, educational kasi siya eh. Para bata pa lang sila, na-experience na nila makakita ng ganyan na klase na mga fishes.
The sharks here are nurse sharks, among the tamest of sharks posing little danger to humans. There are 4 types of stingrays in the pool, including the black blotched ribbon tail ray. Visitors choose from different zones, depending on which creature the visitor wants to meet. You can pose with them, stroke them, and if you dare, swim side by side. There is an additional fee for this attraction. Entrance to the park is 400 pesos or $10. It's open every day from 10 in the morning to 9 at night. Andita Winda for Asean Today.
It is feedback time, and we enjoy hearing your comments from throughout the ASEAN region. Joining us with this month's comments is Nurani Sulisa of the ASEAN Secretariat. Come on in, Nurani. What's the buzz this month?
Dalton, here are our latest comments. Enda tweeted this question: why should ASEAN Today be broadcast only monthly? ASEAN youth need more global news. We always appreciate viewers wanting more of our program. This tweet came from Yanwar. I love ASEAN more due to ASEAN Today. Great to hear that. Please keep watching. And one more comment from Twitter, this one from Niken. I watched ASEAN Today and realized I was standing at the exact same spot as Dalton. It's always a photo op here in the lobby of the Secretariat. Let us know what you're thinking. Email us at aseantoday.tv@gmail.com, post something on our Facebook page, or tweet us at ASEAN Today TV. Dalton?
Thank you very much, Nurani. Good job. Ayin?
Dalton and Nurani, communities throughout ASEAN got very wet in the annual event marking the Thai New Year. In Bangkok, a massive water fight marked the celebration of the Buddhist Songkran festival on April 13. Residents and visitors armed themselves with buckets and water guns to soak each other in the Asylum Business District. Splashing with water is seen as a symbol of cleansing and washing away the sins of the old year. The annual celebration was also a way for many to momentarily forget about the country's ongoing political problems. And that's ASEAN Today for this month. I'm Ain Bandial of the Brunei Times in Bandar Seri Begawan.
And I'm Dalton Tanonaka of the Indonesia channel at the ASEAN Secretariat in Jakarta. Thank you for watching, and please join us again next month.